Superpowered teenagers fighting for the survival of our civilization. And a woman that's so beautiful, the mere sight of her can drive a man to madness. That's just a little taste of what's going on in a new book called The Gifted. Anna Katherine Davis is the author of The Gifted, and she's here to tell me more about it. Anna Katherine, thank you so much for being with us today.
Thank you for having me.
I hope you don't take this the wrong way, but you don't look old enough to drink, much less write a really good fantasy novel.
Well, I hope it's really good. I am really young. I'm 18. I wrote it when I was 15.
Wow.
Yeah, so it just kind of came together.
There you go. Well, I gave the folks at home a little tease about what's happening in this, but we're talking about young people that have superpowers, and there's lots of fantasy elements in here. Talk to me about the book. What happens?
Well, basically, it's about Rose. It's called The Gifted because Rose is gifted. She's so beautiful, people go crazy when they look at her. And because of that, she was growing up really, secluded, and people really couldn't connect with her. And so as she got older, she decided that she didn't want to be a part of that and went off into seclusion on her own. And as that happened, she kind of noticed that the world was changing, but it wasn't changing for the better. And she didn't understand why that was happening until she met someone else with gifts. And he told her that the reason that she is the way that she is because she is a part of this order of teenagers, currently between the ages of 12 and 25, one for every sign of the zodiac. And they all have these gifts because they're the only ones that can recognize and combat this infestation of body snatchers.
Oof.
Yeah, it's really bad. But Rose is especially important because her gifts continuously evolve, and so she has the ability to kind of invade the invaders because they can't ever tell where she is.
So she can snatch their bodies?
Not necessarily, but she can kind of go in and pretend to be one of them because nobody can tell who is infested and who isn't, especially because her gifts continuously change. They can't ever kind of get like a pinpoint on who she is.
Wow. This is complex.
Yeah,
but it sounds
many
really
layers.
good. All right.
Yeah.
And ordinarily, whenever people think of a fantasy novel, they think of something along the lines of like J.R. Tolkien's Lord of the Rings.
Oh
or
my
something.
goodness, that's a lot to live up to.
Absolutely. This is more of a modern times fantasy
Very
novel.
much so. Young adult fiction. It really is set for the younger set. Not that people of all ages couldn't enjoy it, but it really is just supposed to be a kind of a story that anyone can relate to, and it's kind of a growing up story because all the characters are so young. They're teenagers, so there's first loves and first breakups and playing pranks on one another, but then they're in a war, so there's darkness and people dying and a lot of light and dark played out.
Now, at no point in your book does anyone enter the sunlight and begin to sparkle.
No, I cannot say that that happens.
I'm just making sure, because so far I'm very interested.
Oh, awesome.
But if someone named Edward starts to glitter
we don't have any
around
Edwards.
page 50, I'm putting it down.
I would forgive you for that.
Tell us a little bit about what inspired you to write this, because we've got superheroes and body snatchers. That's like Invasion of the Body Snatchers. That's a classic sci-fi 50s thing. You're 18. Where did the inspiration come from?
To be perfectly honest, this book happened because I couldn't write anything else. And I had written, I can't even tell you, probably I have a folder of 32 unfinished stories. Some of them only 12 pages. I think the longest is about 400. And I basically went in there and was like, why can I not finish any of these? And so I made a list of everything that I liked about them and a list of everything I didn't like. And I basically just wove together all the stories that I had previously written, and it came into this.
Wow.
Yeah.
So this sort of hodgepodge of a wild imagination.
Yeah, I really didn't expect it to basically consume me as much as it did. It really, really did. It came out in about 2 months, which now that I'm writing the second, because it's one of 4. Now that I'm in the second, and I've been basically writing on the second for like 6 months, and I'm like, how did I ever finish this first one so quickly? But it did. It just came together and just happened on its own, really.
Now, the characters that you have in the book, are they similar to anyone you know? Are they based on anyone? For example, Rose. Is there someone that's so beautiful in your life that she just makes you crazy?
No, not necessarily. I definitely draw on personal experiences when I write it just because I feel like that makes it more authentic. I don't think that there's any specific person that I had in my mind, but there would be instances where I would like laugh at something and I'd be like, oh, so-and-so would think that this is absolutely hysterical. Things like that.
There we go. So is the ambition to become a professional writer? Well, heck, you already are. Are you going to continue to pursue this, or was this sort of a lark?
I would have said no originally because I feel like writing makes me crazy, but the funny thing about it is not writing makes me crazier. So I am trying to pursue getting my doctorate in English. I'm at Alabama right now. But I think I'm probably going to go more along the lines of being an English professor and then just writing as the inspiration comes and just letting it happen.
There you go. Get that steady paycheck and be John Grisham on the weekend.
Yeah, that would be awesome. There we
Or
go. That's what we need.
Anne Rice or whoever this would be more similar to. This sounds really good. Thanks so much for being with us.
I
Enjoyed
appreciate
chatting
it.
with
Thank
you.
you for having me.
You can find out more about The Gifted or buy a copy online at tatepublishing.com/bookstore.